never done a reaction video before. So last week when I was tagged in a video about what to do when your kid walks in on you while engaged, and sex therapist Emily from the podcast Sex with Emily offered her advice, I was really interested to see what she would say. So this isn't a pure reaction video because I have seen it before, but I am gonna go through the video and give you my take on her advice. With that being said, if you don't know who Emily is, she makes lots of content for adults on how to have better sex and improve their sex lives. She's been doing this for a long time and has brought a lot of attention to destigmatizing the topic of sex and helping adults feel more comfortable talking about sex with their partners. And so if that's something that you are interested in, definitely go and check out her podcast. Okay, so first off, parents, good job on still having sex. I mean, it is hard to find the time as parents to have sex, so keep up the good work. Second, if you are here watching this because your kid walked in on you and you're wondering, did I do okay? Did I say the right thing? I want you to know you did good. It is so hard to know what to say in these moments if you never considered that they might actually happen. And Emily, if you are watching this, if you came to me and said, here's how I handled my kid walking in on me and my husband having sex, how did I do? What could I do better? I would tell you, well done. The general tone of your video sounds like you want your kid to be educated and understand that sex and sexuality are a normal part of being human, and that's really great. Kids are curious about sex, and as a parent, wanting to provide that education to them is wonderful. Let's go through your video and let me show you how you could really nail this talk, pun intended, because that's what I do. I teach parents how to be intentional with the sex talk so that you always feel prepared. Let's jump into it.
My kid walked in on me and my husband having sex. What do I do? Close the door and put your clothes back on. And then you go back inside and you say, oh, hi. Is there something that you needed?
Logistically speaking, how are you going to do that? How are you going to shut the door without them seeing you completely naked? This is one of the reasons why I'm always talking about setting boundaries. This is one of the very first sex talks that I teach parents to have because it is so foundational to all the other sex talks. Because if you are setting and maintaining boundaries from day one, getting that door closed is going to be so much easier. So if your kid walked in on you icing the cake, you can say something to the effect of, is everything all right? Okay. If our bedroom door is closed, please remember to knock. It's respectful to knock before entering someone's room. So since everything's all right, can we practice knocking? Can you go back out and close the door and knock? Now this actually gives you time to put your clothes on, so then you can go and have a chat with them. So let's see what she says.
You say, oh, hi. Is there something that you needed? Daddy and I were just having some alone time. When the door's shut, really good to know.
Right here, her tone is great. It is calm and collected, and your kid will match your tone. So if you are calm, they will be calm. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying alone time here. It's actually really good for kids to see their parents have time together away from them. Parents generally have no problems telling their kids, hey, we're gonna have a date night, just daddy and I. We need time as adults to be with each other and talk about adult things and watch adult movies and spend adult time together. When it comes to talking to young kids, using the same verbiage over and over can be really beneficial. And so an easy way to just elevate this part of the conversation, instead of saying alone time, say adult time. And this is because as parents, when we set and maintain boundaries, by being intentional with the word adult, it's a foundational layer to the sex talks because adults have sex, children do not, but anybody can have alone time. And also alone time sounds like alone time by yourself, but you're not by yourself, you're with somebody. So you're not actually alone. So really, it's adult time. Okay, so let's continue on.
When the door's shut, really good to knock. So important for us to connect and have our time together. If you have any questions about this, though, let's talk about it.
Okay, so this is something that I hear parents tell me all the time. They went to their kid and said, hey, do you have any questions about and insert sex topic there? And then your kid says, not really. And so then you say, well, when you do, let's talk about it. Many parents feel good with leaving it there. And yes, open communication is great. But let me show you what this sounds like because you may want to improve upon it. For example, if I was to say to you, do you have any questions about the tax code for small businesses? And you're thinking to yourself, I don't even have a small business. So you say, no, not really. And I say to you, well, when you do, let's talk about it. You're thinking to yourself like, okay, cool, sure, whatever. This is, for lack of better words, unrealistic advice to give to parents, especially when it comes to the sex talks. So to put this into perspective, as parents, we know what our kids need to be learning by certain ages. We know what age they need to be reading level 1 or when they should be knowing how to count to 100. And so I teach parents how to have the sex talks in the same way. We don't go to our kids and say, "Do you have any questions about reading? When you do, let's talk about it." We initiate the learning objectives and we say to them, "Hey, it's time for you to learn your letters and the sounds that they make." We know it's age appropriate and developmentally appropriate for our kid, so we go and initiate those talks. So if you are a parent right now and you have no idea what sex talks you need to be initiating with your kid this month or coming up in the next 3 months, go and fill out this form that is linked in the description and the comments, and let's chat. Because I've created a course for parents around the 3 most difficult sex topics that the majority of parents struggle with. And by the end of the course, you will have your roadmap. You will know exactly how you will be initiating each of these sex talks and at what age. So go fill out that form and I will be in touch with you via email. Okay, let's see what's next.
This is the way we talk to our kids about sex. We have to be like, we have alone time. Yeah, we were connecting. Our answers have to be commensurate with their age and what they can handle. Your 5-year-old just might be able to understand, well, mommy and daddy have alone time. Just like I got time with you today, sweetie. Daddy and I need to connect because we love each other very much.
Okay, so we have an age now. Your 5-year-old has walked in on you. At this age, I wouldn't recommend making a connection between adult time and the time you spend with your children because it's just not the same. So instead, if they ask, "What are you doing?" you can say, "We were doing some activities that adults do with other adults." And parents usually do this privately, and that's why the door was shut. And sometimes parents just need time together to do adult activities. And they're 5, so just redirect. "What was it that you came in here for?" It's generally the same thing that she said, but it's very specific and intentional with the words. That simple answer might suffice. Or now they might be concerned because what they saw looked forceful or it looked like it may have hurt. So they may say, "It looked like so-and-so was hurting you." Here, they're showing concern, and it's important to offer them reassurance. You can say something to the effect of, "I understand that it may have looked like so-and-so was hurting me, but like I said, this is an adult activity and something that adults do together. I am okay, I am not in pain, and I am not hurt, but thank you for being concerned about my safety. Now, what was it that you came in here for? How can I help you?" Again, at this age, a little redirection never hurt. That's the gist of what to say if your 5-year-old walks in on you. Now, you may notice that I did not add any values into that statement to my 5-year-old. It's something adults do. It's adult activities. I'm not in pain. I am safe. This is intentional, as sex isn't always something that adults do when they love each other or want to connect with each other. Intentionally staying away from those value-based statements will make answering the question, "Why do adults have sex?" so much easier later on. And yes, values are important, but I'll show you how to include your values in just a little bit. Tell me you're beginning to see how all the sex talks layer, right? Just wanted to throw that tidbit in.
10-year-old, they might know something about sex. They've probably seen it on their phone and porn.
They might know something about sex because they've seen it in porn, but you don't know if they know what sex is, but you're assuming that they've seen porn. So you're just going to wing a sex talk based off of those assumptions because they've walked in on you. That's a lot of assumptions to make. Okay, let's see what you're going to say.
You just say afterwards, "Yeah, Daddy and I spend time together. We connect. Our intimate life is so important to us. We have sex." This is also a great time to say, "Do you have any questions? What have you learned about sex? Let's talk about it."
Okay, I get it. You're flustered because your 10-year-old has walked in on you having sex. If your 10-year-old knows what sex is and they walk in on you, they're not sticking around for a conversation. It's and it's an immediate exit for them. So you can take your time and gather yourself and your clothes, and then you can go and have a talk with them. You can say something to the effect of, "By your reaction, I can tell that you know what so-and-so and I were doing. And it made me realize that I've never explained what sex is to you, and that's on me. I want you to have correct information about sex, and I want to answer any questions that you may have. And also reiterate the importance of knocking on any door when it's closed." So we'll continue this conversation tomorrow, but There was one last thing though. What did you need? What did you come into our room for? And that's a response for parents who never had the sex talk during the intermediate age. But if you did explain what is sex during the intermediate age, which I do recommend that parents do, and they ask you, what are you doing? You can simply say that you're having sex. And this is something that adults do with other adults in private, and that's why the door was closed. And they'll say, oh, and then you can say, is everything okay? Okay. Could we practice knocking? Could you go back out and close the door and knock? And then this gives you a moment to put your clothes on and then help them with whatever it was that they came into your room for. All right, we're halfway there. Let's see what's next.
We don't talk to our kids about sex because we're so worried about what to say, that we're going to be embarrassed, that you're going to say something wrong.
Totally. Spot on. I also hear from parents, I'm unsure what's age appropriate. And is it going to make them want to have sex by telling them what sex is? You don't have to feel like this. You can have the sex talks with confidence because you can prepare for every single sex talk. And I can help you with that. Parents, if you are late to the sex talks and you now have a 10, 11, or 12-year-old and you have not explained what sex is, leading with honesty, this is a good strategy.
But the best thing you can do is say, my parents never talked to me about sex either, and that was really a problem. I grew up not knowing anything about sex, and so I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I just want to be real with you, that when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's really important to connect intimately, and the physical touch and the connection with your dad is such an important part of us being great parents and great friends, and it helps us in everything else in our day-to-day life. So that was our time. You'll see when you are older how important it is for you to have intimate relationships with somebody that you love and trust.
So this whole part is her personal values around sex. And these values are what she wants to instill in her kid regarding sex. Values are definitely important to share. Now, not all adults wait to be in a relationship with someone in order to have sex with them, nor do all adults only have sex in relationships. Not all adults need connection with others through sexual touch. Not all adults have sex with their friends in order to be great friends with them. Many adults do have sex, but not all. So moms, dads, parents, what are your values around sex? When is sex acceptable to do? What are the consequences of engaging in sex? I recommend to share the range of values that there are when it comes to sex. So this would look something like, not all adults wait to have sex until they're in a relationship with someone or want to have sex in relationships. But in our family, we believe. And then you fill in your values there. This way, your kid understands that these are your family values and that others may have different values. And their values aren't wrong, they're just different. So when they see something contrary to what you've said, they can identify that as something that exists because you've brought it to their attention that there are other values besides your own. Okay, so now this last part, you'll see when you are older how important it is for you to have intimate relationships with somebody that you love and trust. Let's stay away from the term older and reinforce that adults have sex. Let's stay away from you statements and talk about our family and what we believe or what I believe. If you really want to share this values-based statement because it's important to you, reframe it. So now this statement could look like, when adults decide to have sex, there are many things that they consider before engaging in sex with someone. In our family, we consider whether or not the sex is happening in a relationship that is built on love and trust. What are some ways to build trust with someone? Okay, so yeah, maybe you're not jumping into a full-on conversation about this in the middle of the night. But this is part of your preparation around knowing what your values are around sex and how to effectively share those values to your kid so that they're open to receiving them. Because as your kid gets to be 10, 11, and 12 years old, they are not only hearing you talk about sex, but they are also being influenced by others and hearing differing opinions about sex. All right, it's the home stretch.
And these are the kind of conversations that you have ongoing. It doesn't happen once. You have to have these conversations all the time. Just be real, be honest, and don't apologize.
Yep, definitely. This is ongoing. There's going to be lots and lots and lots of little talks happening. And of course, you can be honest while maintaining your boundaries, especially if you know why you're having these talks in the first place. Now, this is the most important thing for every parent that is out there listening. Starting today, what I want you to do is intentionally practice your boundary setting, and you may never have to have this talk because boundaries are in place. Or if you never want to have this talk, just practice locking your friggin' door for those 5 minutes. You're welcome. And if you want to find out if this course is right for you, don't forget to fill out that form and I'll be in touch.